Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to my super chat. Thank you so very much. And everyone, I have a new channel. In addition to H.A. Goodman's other channel, I have a great segment today on H.A. Goodman's other channel. And I have another segment up right after this live stream on H.A. Goodman's other channel. But I have a really, really great new channel called H.A. Goodman's Hyperbole Translator. And basically what that is that I translate the hyperbole, I fact check the patently false and absurd and deliberately deceptive claims of people like, I don't know, Madam Secretary. So I did a segment today on how Democrats and Madam Secretary have stated, so Eric H526 has the segment. It's right there. Thanks, Eric H526. Thank you. I did a segment on how it is false to claim that Trump wants to use the military against American citizens. That is a very, very broad and deliberately deceptive statement, insinuating that all people are at risk and not people who happen to be throwing, bricks into storefronts or setting cars and buildings ablaze. So that's who he's obviously referring to when he talks about a more heavy-handed response. But Democrats cannot possibly, ladies and gentlemen, view things from the vantage point of, they can't possibly view things from the vantage point of nuance. They are obsessed. Democrats think they're the Rosetta Stone of Trump's tweets. They think that only they can decipher the true meaning because they have to inject and they have to fabricate meaning that's not there. In addition to, so check out that channel. It's pretty awesome. And basically, it's my former Bizarro World Goodman channel, but subscribe to it, and it's going to be very important, from here on out. Things are heating up, ladies and gentlemen. And I have a great segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel, so I now have 3 channels that are up and running. Obviously, this channel is my main channel, and then H.A. Goodman's other channel has over 15,000 subscribers. And we're approaching 5,000 subscribers with H.A. Goodman's Hyperbole Translator. So check that out. Nothing is more amusing than seeing Democrats try to paint Trump as this authoritarian despot, while at the same time making the most vapid appeals to patriotism and to honor and to the Constitution. It's really interesting watching how Democrats, what they've done, their main goal is trying to be the foils or the antithesis of the failed public relations spin of Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, to create a new failed spin on patriotism, which is what they're trying to do right now. So I can't get into the wording and exactly what the Bush administration did, but what they did was had a tremendous, catastrophe that they took advantage of, and they predicated failed foreign policy and utilized intelligence failures to justify failed foreign policy, all the while saying this is for the country and this is for, defense of the country and patriotism. And what Democrats have done is they've taken the hyperbole there from the Bush administration, and what they've done is reverse it to now calling things that aren't certain words, And so the Bush administration predicated its entire existence on fighting, you can fill in the word, not on the live stream, but you can fill in the word in your minds. And then now Democrats have taken that word and then taken notions of patriotism and appeals to, love of country, and they've twisted it and mangled all of these, competing narratives, or all of these narratives into, well, Trump doesn't care about the country because he's actually trying to utilize the military against American citizens, when actually what President Trump is doing is exactly what Democratic governors in Democratic states and Democratic mayors are asking him over the phone. So even Andrew Cuomo tells Bill de Blasio, have more of a heavy-handed response, please. We still need a city. Once we've tried to tank the economy, we still want to have a city left. Because, they spent 3 months telling everyone that they had to shut down and do away with the United States economy. They spent 3 months. This was a self-induced depression that we've had. A self-induced depression. And we had record low unemployment, record low Black and Latino unemployment. Then we went into our self-induced depression. And it's like, it's like now we have literally cities engulfed in chaos and mayhem, and Democrats cannot admit it. On Twitter, they cannot admit what's taking place in cities run by Democratic mayors. They are focusing only on President Trump's rhetoric. This is their whole lives are dependent upon. This is why they get so upset. Because when you debate things that Trump has accomplished, like being the first president to step foot in North Korea, they say, oh, well, he caters to despots. If you say record low Black and Latino unemployment, they say, well, President Obama gave him a good economy. This was like 3 years into his tenure. And then when you say, oh, well, look at him with the Bible, and then Nancy Pelosi has a photo up with her Bible. And so then they do this on I don't have Twitter, but they do this on Twitter, which is why this live stream is important. They do this on Twitter. And I don't have Twitter, I don't have Facebook, but they find the one retired general and the one religious leader, and they say, what do you think of Trump? Oh my God, Trump is so horrible. And then they say, you see, the Democrats are now the hybrids of the old Bush-era Republicans and some kind of new, dastardly, horrendous, bizarre creature hybrid of everything establishment going up against Trump. And exactly, Arya Lee, impeachment didn't work, Russia didn't work, Ukraine didn't work, Stormy, I guess Trump was okay with that, exactly. And now it's what's going on with the country now is the Democratic Party can't even, they take an issue that's important and nobody takes them to task. Media doesn't say, well, wait a second, after Eric Garner that took place under President Obama in the same city, virtually like New York and Minneapolis are run by Democratic machines. New York and Minneapolis are the bluest, the most liberal of cities. Why did you have two African-American black men who suffered the same fate in two Democratic-run cities. Why? Nobody brings it up. Nobody brings it up. Nobody asks that question. And so when they're appealing to these authority figures or to notions of God and country, which is hilarious because they've kind of done away with the concept of God, Democrats have, or liberals in general. Majority. This is a July 10th, 2019 poll. 57%, nearly 6 in 10 military veterans, 57% say they approve of Mr. Trump's handling of his duties as commander-in-chief. And 48% support his policies. Say that his policies have left the military in a stronger position. 48%. Now there's a poll out. Saying, well, only about 41% of active duty soldiers approve of Trump, and about 44% disapprove of him. Okay, well, not only did veterans have a negative approval rate of President Obama, so President Trump has a 57% approval rating among veterans. And this is important because as they talk about President Trump, this is not a heavy-handed approach, a draconian approach to all citizens. He is trying to keep major cities in existence, because Democrats and media cannot. I mean, literally, as buildings are falling down around them, you have, journalists saying, yeah, everything's fine. And it's Trump. Trump's the problem. They are so oblivious. They're deliberately just clueless and oblivious. And so the reason this live stream is important, even though some people might be like, well, what does this have to do with what's going on? The appeal to patriotism and to the appeal to former generals on Twitter or on, in social media or Democrats, you're always going to find a military figure that doesn't like President Trump. That's fine. But notice that if about 6 in 10 veterans, so 6 in 10, former generals, veterans, former high-level officials in the Pentagon, or, former, high-level, leaders within the military, if you were to ask them about Trump, they would almost certainly give you a very positive reaction to what's going on. But you will never get that. Just like with the pandemic, you never get the expert that disagrees with the experts that the media wants you to hear. If it's always, well, those are the anomalies. Everyone believes this. No, not everyone wanted to tank the entire economy. I'm sure you could have found immunologists that stated, well, we probably should allow healthy people to work, and actually there were medical professionals. Dr. Scott W. Atlas wrote his article in The Hill, stating, hey, you know what? The mortality rate doesn't justify total and complete shutdowns. So, I mean, you have that, just one example, and then if there's a French doctor that has a study on a certain medication, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Everyone circles the wagons, and you know what? They come out with 2, 3 studies right out. No, that's not true. You know what? This is, and it's those studies weren't peer reviewed either. So, but anyway, we can go on forever. Nearly 6 in 10 military veterans say they approve of Mr. Trump's handling of his duties. Now, if you look, this is a Business Insider article. Here's what the U.S. military really thinks about President Obama, 2017. Right as he's about to leave. Overall, 60.3% of Marines, 53% of the Army, 49.6% of the Air Force, and 45% of the Navy, 45.9% of the Navy said they disapproved of President Obama. A plurality in each case. Enlisted soldiers and Marines were more likely than officers to disapprove of President Obama. So, only 18% of soldiers active duty said they held a favorable view. With President Trump, it's over 40%. And they still make a big deal about 43 or 44% disapproving of active duty soldiers. Under President Obama's leadership, only 18% had a favorable view. So that's just a little bit of research, like 2 seconds of research. You can see that the military did not have a favorable view of President Obama, either active duty or veterans. And the military has a far more favorable, the active duty soldiers have a far more favorable view of President Trump and than President Obama. And it's still over 40%, which is far better than the 18%. I think that you had a little bit high, it was higher than 18%, but here, let's see. For President Obama, but let's see. It was a lot. Sorry, only 18%, very favorable. So 36% favorable. It's still, and Trump has about 42% favorable of active duty soldiers. But veterans, it's not even close. Veterans did not have a favorable view of President Obama. So you talk about, it's just interesting because let's see. About 36% said they approved of veterans, said they approved of his job as commander-in-chief, compared to 57% for President Trump. Am I getting the numbers right? I believe that's the case. So you have a huge disparity, okay, in military families, veterans, active duty soldiers, and how they feel about and how they feel about the two different presidents. But you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that pull. You're definitely not going to get that pull from, or you're not going to get the difference in viewpoint from. Military members hold negative view of President Obama. This is January of 2017. This is after 8 years. Nearly 49% of service members who voted in the November election cast their ballots for President Donald Trump. 29% voted for Hillary Clinton. So if you look, there's a stark difference between. So 29% of military personnel related said very favorable. 51.5% said negative in some way. So there's a difference. There's definitely a stark difference. If you have 57% of veterans and over 40% of active duty soldiers, approving of President Trump. Again, the issue is you look at everything going on. Jimbo! HA, what happened to concerns that there will be a second wave? Oh, exactly. With people not adhering to social distancing laws. At least they're wearing their... Jimbo! Exactly. This shows you that they never cared. Jimbo, this shows you that they never cared. I mean, you're talking about people who allowed 4 primaries to take place during the pandemic. They never cared. Democrats are just, they live off of public relations. That's it. Their whole lives are predicated upon public relations. That's it. And there was a horrendous VA crisis under President Obama. Of course, it was never President Obama's fault. Nothing was ever President Obama's fault. The media covers up for Joe Biden, for Madam Secretary, who will be nominee. Hillary Clinton will be nominee, not Biden. And there, I have been hammering it home every day, and I'm like obsessed with bringing it up every day because people are going to forget about it in 2 seconds. When I was quoted in 2015 by NPR, and I said Clinton is unelectable and will lose swing states. From that moment in 2015, well, actually even before then, to the November 6th, 2016, it was November 6th, right? Every single day, the reality was Trump is going to lose in a landslide. Clinton is going to win in a landslide. And there's no way that Clinton could lose. When she lost, everything changed. They didn't even bat an eye. I mean, you have the Jacob Javits Center with people, apoplectic and shedding tears because Clinton didn't win. They'll have a chance again in 2020. But it changes in the blink of an eye. Jimbo, they don't care. Jimbo, thank you as always. They don't have, it's not like they have a set view of the world. They don't have a set view of the world. What they, how they view life is the following. They'll blame everything on President Trump. They'll devote their lives because they think the way they live is, this is the media of like 1970s, 80s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The media was perhaps had a tiny liberal bias, but not like an extension of the Democratic Party. Like right now, it's an extension of the Democratic Party, but they don't see it that way. They think the media is completely unbiased and that Trump is just this madman. And people are just looking objectively saying, wow, what is wrong with this person? And then they get on Twitter and they're like, oh my God. Oh my God, the sky is falling every single day. The sky is falling. The sky is falling, and it's like, if you just look at a little bit of data, a little bit of research, veterans had a lower approval of President Obama. active duty had a lower approval of President Obama. Veterans and active duty have a much higher approval of Trump. But if you look at Twitter, it's like, oh my God, he's using the military against all citizens. Like, no, not all citizens. And that's with the support, if it happens, with the support of the governors and mayors who do not have a foothold of what's going on in their cities. They have lost control because these are democratic machines that say one thing and do another. Like, oh, we feel your pain, and then Cuomo's like, and then Whitmer is, oh yeah, President Trump, can you pay more of our National Guard because the state doesn't have money to pay them. So it's the governors who are bringing in the National Guards. So, but it's just really interesting seeing, like, if you want to look at a very old school dad, man. Ellison, a former Democratic congressman, previously said that he had, quote, every expectation that charges would be filed against the officers, that he hoped they'd come soon. I believe the charges were already filed against the person that committed that crime, that horrendous crime against George Floyd, who took his life, murder. Old school dad, man, I believe. So I believe the officer who was on top of George Floyd was already charged. Old school dad, man, thank you. Thank you. And then there's another, okay, just 15, this is a 2014 article, just 15% of active duty, this is CNN, service members gave President Obama a thumbs up. And more than half, 55%, said they disapproved. Okay? And that's with active duty. So active duty soldiers today have a tiny bit more disapproval of President Trump. It's like 42 to 44%. And so, and President Obama was still around 44% approval as of December 22nd, 2014. That's around where President Trump is. President Trump is 42%. But, I mean, look at the difference. The difference is that the media was, loved President Obama, absolutely loved him. The media despises Trump, and he's still at 42, 43, 44%. And depending on the poll, Gallup, he's at 49%. So, but in an aggregate, he's like, around 42 or 43%, which is still good. See, they don't get, like, they're gonna lose again with Clinton, and she'll write, what happened yet again. Madonna posted a video. This is the left just eating itself. Madonna posted a video tribute to George Floyd, and it didn't go down well. So it's and then on Twitter, somebody wrote, nobody asked Madonna to weigh in today, not a soul. It's just, the left is like, every day it's just continuously eating itself up. Every single day. But you look at what's taking place, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like, oh my God, President Trump he's just an authoritarian. He's an authoritarian. And it's like, no, it's not. So old school dad man, thank you. Jimbo, thank you. It's not that he's an authoritarian. It's that there happens to be a great deal of violence and mayhem and chaos. And cities it is not safe. There are curfews in cities now. So what do you expect the president to do? This is not the country that we're used to. And don't say it's President Trump's fault. He's not the one throwing bricks into windows and setting cars, ablaze. He's not the one doing this. And he's also not the governors of these states and mayors of major urban areas that are run by Democrats. They're run by Democrats. But no one will put two and two together. Nobody will put two and two together. Like they just will not put two and two together, because if they do, there goes their narrative. There goes the public relations spin. There goes the public relations spin. So, this is May 5th, 2020. Trump achieves major victories for veterans. This is by Nate Anderson. This is a really interesting article. Nate Anderson is Executive Director of Concerned Veterans for America and a veteran of the Afghanistan War. And this is on May 5th, 2020. Veteran service members in USA Today. Veteran service members and military families are good at seeing the forest for the trees on issues important to veterans and military community. President Donald Trump has achieved some major victories. Chief among them, the Trump administration has passed and implemented historic reforms to the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, including greater accountability for VA employees and increased health care choices for veterans, which enjoys support from 90% of veterans. Additionally, the president signed bills that fixed long-standing issues with the GI Bill in a fiscally responsible manner and addressed the VA disability claims backlog. While the Trump administration deserves credit for fixing systemic problems at the VA, there remains work to be done. The White House should quickly direct the VA to reverse its decision to pause the VA Mission Act. This perplexing decision is restricting veterans' access to care and endangering the progress made in expanding choice for veterans right when they need more options. So President Trump should do what this gentleman is saying. Trump has also called for an end to our endless endless conflict. I'll just leave it at that, which have been a burden on our service members and their families, which is true. This is what I want all Americans in counterinsurgency conflicts to be brought home to their families. We cannot stay in these places for 20 years. We should never have stayed there for more than, General Daniel Bulger wrote a book, Why We Lost, and he said the United States military is made for quick, decisive victories. That is strong. That is the what our overwhelmingly, powerful military can achieve, and what we should be able to achieve without staying there forever. Because once we stay there in places forever, it turns into counterinsurgency conflicts where the people who live there have the advantage. The president has rightly recognized that these wars are not making us safer while costing us dearly in lives and resources. This is especially true for the war in Afghanistan. So he's eventually ending that horrendous conflict and hopefully bring Americans home. So that's just an article written just recently. Agent Pepsi won. Giant Twitter lie today by Schumer. Twitter silent. Exactly. Oh my God. Twitter silent, Jack Dorsey silent. Everyone, they're all silent. It's pretty unbelievable. They just basically are making things up and they're okay with it. Exactly. The National Guard is the governors the governors ask. President Trump can't decide if the National Guard goes into a state. These are the governors. These are Democratic governors asking for the National Guard. And then Schumer and Pelosi and all of them are getting upset with Trump. It's like, what? What? So, you look at what's taking place, and they're losing, especially with Pelosi with the Bible now. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Nancy Pelosi wields Bible, quotes Bush. Oh my God, if you're quoting George W. Bush, you got a big problem. You got a big problem. A huge problem. Ecclesiastes. Pelosi's remarks include quoting from the book of Ecclesiastes and from comments by former President George W. Bush. Why don't you quoting from Revelations and Dr. Seuss? And President Obama as they react to incidents similar. They're so out of touch. They're so out of touch. It's unbelievable. They're so out of touch. It's unbelievable. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing how, and this is like not going to be rewarded. Democrats will not be rewarded. They think that they're like playing this political game. Oh, well, you know, people really make up their minds a week before the election. Like, no, this what's taking place right now, people will remember. They will remember the mayors of cities that allowed their cities to be crumbled, to crumble. They will remember the Democratic Party and Democratic mayors and governors saying one thing, oh, we feel your pain, and then asking the National Guard to come in as the cities are set ablaze. Nancy Pelosi wields Bible, quotes Bush. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Why would anyone care what George W. Bush had? He had like horrendous tragedy after horrendous tragedy. And all throughout his administration, that was just not a good time for the country in general. Then President Trump, he, has a picture with the Bible, and then Nancy Pelosi needs her picture with the Bible now. And then New York Times is back at it again. And they had one headline that was kind of, okay, defending Trump. And it's like, oh my God, the hysterical reaction. Trump's response to protest draws bipartisan rebuke. His response? What is he supposed to do? Where's this rebuke? Are there any Democrats that maybe agree with him? Those people don't exist. The article title could be complete opposite title if they just asked maybe a Democrat in a red state what they think. But here we go. It's all so sad, pathetic, so weak. Everything's doom and gloom. Schumer, this is Chuck Schumer. This is happening in his state. After what the president's reality show ended last night while the nation nervously watched the chaos that engulfed us, yeah, it's happening in cities run by Democrats. President Trump laid in bed please himself for descending another rung on the... What is... These people are... What's wrong with them? Chuck Schumer, he laid in bed. How do you know? Were you watching him when no one's looking, Schumer? He probably wore out his remote control. He probably wore out his remote control watching the clips of General Barr's victory over the unarmed in the Battle of Lafayette Square. It's like, it's just unbelievable. The world they live in. He wore out his... Oh my God. Oh my God. Miller Chillmore! Great stream. HA Dems think going into negative media overdrive is going to help them, but nobody can take that much negativity. They're losing interest. Exactly, Miller Chillmore. Exactly. Miller Chillmore, great point. Great point. Great point. And you've stated that more eloquently than I could have. Great point. Nobody cares anymore. They're totally done with it. Blue Diamond Gem. Blue Diamond Gem, thank you. Jimbo! Pete Solano! The Dem states have shown they take voters for granted. It can only help. Exactly. Absolutely, Jimbo. Pete Solano, thank you. Pete Solano, thank you. Pete, Jimbo, Blue Diamond, Miller Chillmore. You're 100% right with... They don't... All they're doing is getting the people who didn't vote for President Trump in such a frenzy. They're fuming, they're seething, they're apoplectic, they're hysterical. Oh my God, but these are the people, they're not gaining. Nobody is gaining. The Democrats are not gaining support among independents. They're actually not even gaining support in swing states. I mean, you have a president who wants to open up the country for business. Democrats say no, social distance, and then bricks are falling into windows, and then they're saying everything's peaceful, and there goes social distancing. We can do away with that now. Just like we did away with the Ukraine impeachment, then we did away with Russia. How many failed propaganda spins are they going to obsess over? I mean, look. I'm just going to give a football. Football is a great game. The issue with the head trauma is an issue, but I love football. Love football. And if you talk a lot of you-know-what, and at the end of the day, you lose a football game that you have every advantage in. You have every advantage in this football game, but you lose it. You lose the Super Bowl twice, two Super Bowls in a row, and you have you're supposed to have the best team in the world, so that's a problem there. This is 4th and goal. It's 4th and goal. You have Jerry Nadler in the backfield. I feel your pain. They lose again in November. It validates everything that you and I have been saying for the past 4 years. They lose again in November. They've lost a generation of voters. They really have. Because you have voters who are 18 to 25 who eventually will look at President Trump in a much more favorable light than the average Democrat. I mean, you look at, this is also important, Generation Z, I think that's what... Why Democrats should be losing sleep over Generation Z. So, the antithesis of millennials, which is fantastic. Oh my God, please, Generation Z, the youngest generation, please save us. The millennials have, oh my God. They're not all, a lot of great millennials, but according to research, Gen Z is more individualistic, more conservative, both socially and fiscally, and they're already making waves of impact on our political system. Gen Z, those born in 1995 or later, is possibly the most conservative generation since World War II. And it's worrying that their impact has been completely overlooked during this election. So, this was in 2017. Well, while our fears might be preemptive, we should not make the mistake of disregarding the intrigue yet. Also possibly worrying views of Generation Z. So it's written from the perspective of Democrats losing their foothold on American society. The current Democratic Party is the equivalent of the Bush administration, but just an alternate, a liberal version of the Bush administration in terms of the groupthink and the bizarre, just the bizarre and overt media manipulation. Gen Z, those born in 1995 or later, possibly the most conservative generation since World War II. They're not going to view Trump in the same way as the millennials do. They're not. That's definitely not. It's not going to happen, because if you're Gen Z and millennials, if this is accurate, they're looking at the protests from two different vantage points. They're saying, well, yeah, Gen Z is probably closer in terms of their viewpoint of what's taking place with older Americans than millennials. But you're looking at people who are in their mid-20s, early 30s now for Gen Z. So, oh no, mid-20s. So, it's what, 25. But 25, not early 30s. So 25-year-olds. So if you're 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years from now, you'll be 29, 30 years old, 28, 29, 30 years old. And you're going to look and you're going to say, you know what? Trump wasn't that bad. Actually, he was pretty good on a whole bunch of things. And you will then go into your 30s with a completely different viewpoint than the millennials who will be in their 40s thinking that they've lost the entire planet because Trump has obliterated everything good and decent in life. So, also Twitter, the Democrats are taking Twitter with them wherever they go, which will be likely not in a good place. Okay, hold on one second. Karen Hart! Karen, thank you. Karen, I didn't see that. George Rivera Jr. Karen Hart, thank you again. George Rivera Jr. November will be a rout. I hope so, but I fear some shenanigans. November will be a rout, and the wounded bear, which is the Democratic Party, will continue to lash out until the bitter end. Oh my goodness. Well, they're the donkey party. So, George Rivera Jr., thank you. They're gonna lash. Who knows, George? Who knows what's gonna take place? Who knows, George Rivera Jr., what's gonna take place? What kind of surprises they have up their sleeves? This is like a bad breakup. I'm telling you, this is like a really bad breakup with somebody that just really has issues. Democrats, exactly. I agree with you 100%. George Rivera Jr. They're just not gonna make it easy for anyone. No Sickle J! H.A., what do you get when you cross HRC and Justin Trudeau? No Sickle J, hope all is well. What do you get? I don't know. I'm still trying to think. Schumer? I think you get Chuck Schumer. No Sickle J, thank you. I think you get Chuck Schumer. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Karen, thank you. Cosmic Grandpa, shout out to all the veterans in this chat. God bless you, all the veterans. Cosmic Grandpa, thank you. God bless all the veterans in this chat and throughout the country. Thank you for everything. Absolutely, Cosmic Grandpa, absolutely. No, I mean, they're not going to make it. Believe me, they're going to obsess over the negativity, and in November you're going to have yet another, reprimand. You voted for Trump. America, enjoy America. You know what? We've tried to help you, but apparently you're beyond any hope. Like there was like the Maddow hold a reprimand. You know what? This is our new life. You're not in a nightmare. This is reality. Enjoy reality. And it's like, I like Trump's personality compared to President Obama, who drank Flint water and when it was poisonous, said it was safe, presided over the destruction of a country in Libya, where now it's divided into three parts, with two rival factions vying for power, and then the third region is just no man's land. Oh, I'm sorry, Justin Trudeau, no person's land. It's they literally, like, the carnage and atrocities. If you said no man's land, it would be like, what? No, I'm sorry, no person's land. Is that better, Justin Trudeau? Is that better? That's fantastic. Then you get like CNN. Watch what happens when Trudeau was asked about Trump. Why would I need to care about that at all? I don't care. They're always like, look at how people can't stand President Trump. Why would I care if people don't like President Trump? Who cares? Just like when I hear condemnation from people that I know, I just want to let you know, I don't care. And I'm always the better person too, which is not generally, but I'm always like, okay. I know it's almost virtually a psychosis. I just want to let you know, history will judge you very horribly. What do you know? What do you have a time machine? What? You got a time machine that I don't know about? Yeah. President Trump, you look, ladies and gentlemen, at what he's doing, reversing U.S. foreign policy. And it's like, that's one of the great things. One of the great things that he's done. Prison reform legislation. First president to step foot in North Korea, but everything's mitigated. It's like everything is just mitigated. Pete Solano, HA, I'm leaving I donated $5 twice with the content and monitors deleted it. Oh my goodness. Pete Solano, thank you. It definitely wasn't me, and it's definitely, I don't think it was Eric H526. What happens, Pete, is there's like a banned word or content, I don't know, but Pete, thank you so very much. The YouTube guidelines, you know how it is. Pete, thank you. Pete Solano, thank you so very much, Pete, for always watching, and thank you for your support always. It's greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated, Pete. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Arya! God bless you, HN. God bless this chat. Love you all. God bless you, Arya. Thank you so very much for always watching. Thank you. Thank you, Arya Lee. Thank you. And God bless you. Thank you. I'm so glad. Speaking of God, I thank God I'm not on Twitter. I am so glad. I am so glad that I'm not on Twitter. It's let's just go, you look at Twitter right now and it's like Trump controls that also, which is kind of hilarious. It's pretty hilarious that Trump controls that also. They try their best to just make him out to be the biggest monster in the world on a platform that they think they run, and still Trump outmaneuvers them. This is hilarious. Hey, he must be watching my channel. So pathetic to watch the fake news live stream. Then the Democrats are like, can you believe a president speaks like this? A president speaks like this? Arya, thank you. Evan K. Barely slept in days with these choppers hovering over my apartment in East Village, New York. I'm done with New York after all this. Sitting duck, please stand down. I'm not allowed to own them. Exactly, Evan K. Exactly. God bless you. Stay safe. Unbelievable. There's also a local police chief. I think I just read in Santa Monica they allowed people to just, tear down businesses, did nothing. That was on Fox News. It's pretty unbelievable. And then, of course, Democrats say, "Oh, look, like Evan, you're living it," and Democrats and media say, "No, everything's fine. It's all peaceful. It's all peaceful." Evan, thank you. Stay safe, Evan. Stay safe. Honestly, like this is like the whole like, oh my God, the pandemic. This is different because if you have people, this is what the Second Amendment is all about, ladies and gentlemen. You have to protect yourself if need be. God forbid. Obviously, most of the protests are peaceful, or a great percentage. But then there's, of course, what's taking place, which is in liberal cities and liberal states. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Evan, stay safe. Stay safe, Evan. Thank you. George Rivera Jr., be careful how you word chats. I have had to redo my chats before to squeak them past YouTube patience. Thank you, George. Pete Solano and George, you're 100% right. They actually... YouTube has a new policy also. It's not like, so each channel, George and Pete and Evan, each channel. So I have 3 channels, and I have on my end, I have a banned word list of it's kind of funny, like over 100 words. But they have, but the banned word list of YouTube is always changing, or always being updated. So I'm reading this right now. George Rivera Jr. and Ken and everyone here. This is hilarious. So So Donald Trump said, so pathetic to watch the fake news lamestream media. The Democrats are like, oh my God. It was so much better when President Obama was drinking Flint water while it was poisonous, or engaging in a failed NATO intervention, or allowing Standing Rock to take place without doing anything. So pathetic to watch the fake news lamestream media lay down the gravity and depravity of the radical left. Ripping up your liberal Democratic-run only cities. It's almost like they are working together. Silent majority, Donald J. Trump, and he retweeted that. It's true. Then, of course, you get lost the popular vote. Yeah, outspent Trump 2-1. What does that even have to do with anything? So, this is not good for the Democratic Party. This is not good. And they don't see it, too, because they're so out of touch. They're so clueless. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. Twitter is the worst place that mankind has ever created. The worst cyber reality possible. The worst cyber reality possible. George Rivera Jr., thank you. Beyond the Infinite. I was preaching the word of HA about Hillary running, and YouTube banned my comment from, oh my God, Beyond the Infinite. I'm sorry, beyond my comments for a month. It's, I don't know, the whole Beyond the Infinite, thank you. That's why I say Madam Secretary all the time. Madam Secretary, Madam Secretary. So, who knows? HRC, God bless her. Fantastic human being. Only the best. Only the best. Let's see. Beyond the Infinite. Thank you. Reddit. Oh my goodness, Reddit. I haven't. Aren't people tired of this chat is generally like-minded people who enjoy my, long-winded responses to things. But aren't people tired of just interacting with people you don't know on social media platforms that just always lead to arguments? It's like with Luke St. Martin and Eric H526, they regulate, and it's this pristine chat room all the time. Jimbo, HRC incredulous defense in Judicial Watch today. Oh, that's right. That's right. Let's go. Hold on one second. Let's look at their Twitter account, Judicial Watch. So William Barr, oh wow, William Barr let the FBI official go, not the FBI. Wow. This is a dramatic show of no confidence in the current director, Wray. Oh, wow. Could you imagine if Trump fires Wray? Oh, my God. Oh, my Schumer. You gotta give it up, Jimbo, to Schumer. He's like, Trump wore off the remote control. Splashless, thank you. Jimbo, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But you know what? Let me see. So, Judicial Watch. Okay, fine. 80 pages of emails found by FBI that further document how Secretary Clinton used her unsecure non-governmental source to transmit classified and other sensitive government information. Exactly. Wow. They're always finding, this is amazing. They're always finding new emails. Gee, isn't that bizarre? Well, why does that always happen? Oh, that's right. Because it was deliberate. Jimbo, thank you. That'll be, Malou Slater, hello. That'll be swept under the rug, as always. As always. As everything they do is swept under the rug until eventually, this is going to be it'll take as long as possible. The political will, that's one of the reasons Clinton has to run again, because there are so many controversies that are ongoing. Also, once Generation Z starts becoming the journalists and the editors, the news is going to change. Media will change. We are watching, ladies and gentlemen, the liberal version of the Trump years. I'm telling you. Jimbo, I'm telling you. Tell everybody. Tell Webby. Tell Aussie J. Tell everyone at the pub. The BAL boys. This is the liberal version of the Trump years in terms of media. Media was all wrapped around the flag and the country and patriotism. And now media is obsessed with a very bizarre ideology of what justice is in terms of society. And believe me, what happened to George Floyd took place, and what happened to Eric Garner took place in liberal bastions. So that should tell you about the left. Larry! Yo, HA, do the RM bit dressed like her on Bizarro. RM? Let's see. I should know that. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Don't tread on me! Hey, brother, love you guys like me who have years of combat training, have been waiting anxiously. You'll be God bless you. God bless you. Be safe. Be safe. Don't tread on me. God bless you. And just only if it's to protect your family and your loved ones. Other than that, let the police and National Guard do/not do their job. Because it's like the funny thing is, don't tread on me. When I went to the police, and most are good people, but when I went to the police because I got that death threat, he gave me some pretty good advice. He said, "Yeah, Second Amendment." I was like, I was still a liberal at that time, or whatever, progressive, whatever. What I don't even know what I was. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, that actually does make sense. So you're a citizen, you have rights. But be safe, and God bless you, and be safe. No one, I don't think, what's taking place right now with the type of person who is going to be on the streets, setting cars ablaze and throwing a brick into a window is not the type of person who's going to take anyone on directly, especially anyone that's has the Second Amendment. God bless you. Don't tread on me. God bless you. Pete Solano, just stay safe. Don't just let the police and National Guard hopefully do their thing. And if, God forbid, obviously, if in the event, God forbid, you have always, every American has the Second Amendment to fall back on. Especially the celebrities who have armed security. See, I can't afford armed security. That's a problem. Most Americans can't afford armed security, except if you're